Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. You're all here to listen to our amazing, highly specialist speech and language therapist, Solaru, who has agreed to come and talk to you today about exploring new horizons, embracing the private sector after NHS service. So, Katie, first off, thank you so much for agreeing to chat today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really pleased to be here. It was actually, I came to you, didn't I, and asked to do this because I've had such a good experience moving across to ATtherapy from the NHS, and I just wanted to kind of share that with people. You know, at the moment you're looking to recruit some new staff, so I just thought if there's anybody out there who's thinking about a move or, you know, considering doing something different, then this might be helpful.
Amazing, thank you.
Yes.
So, do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about your experiences as a speech and language therapist?
Yeah, sure. I've worked in the NHS since I was 19. So, while I was studying for my speech and language therapy and psychology degree, I started working as a carer in an NHS home with adults with physical disabilities. So that's when I first started within the NHS. And then after I qualified, I got my first job within an NHS trust. It was an amazing first job, perfect for a Band 5 role. It was within special education, as I knew that's what I wanted to do, that's all I was applying for. And I worked in special schools, resource provisions with primary school age children. It was a great job because I was getting to do lots of hands-on therapy. It was kind of an enhanced provision that we were offering at the time. So, you know, we were trying to give children lots of therapy, which was great. Did that for a couple of years and then got a Band 6 job, which was within the same trust, and I was based as a speech and language therapist in a child development unit. Oh. So another amazing job. I was working with 0 to 5s then, with special educational needs or, you know, a delay that hadn't been identified or diagnosed yet. Some had, so lots of children with Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. Some were kind of going through that diagnostic process, which I'll be a part of, such as autism spectrum disorder. So when I first started, I was doing lots of hands-on therapy. It was great. I really got to know the families. But over my time there, the caseloads kind of got bigger and bigger. After returning from my maternity leaves, I was working 3 days a week and I had 75 to 100 clients at a time.
Wow.
So it's just, you know, it's difficult then to really get to know the families and offer that regular support. And I just felt like I couldn't give as much as I wanted, which is why I started to have a look around. But, you know, it took me a while. I was thinking about perhaps looking outside of the NHS for probably a couple of years before I actually decided to move on.
Yeah. Wow, it's a big change.
Yeah.
It is a big change.
Yeah, it is. And I think as well because, you know, it's an incredible service, and for, you know, all of the children to have access to this therapy is really, really important. And I think I felt a lot of guilt about leaving the NHS, but actually, you know, in this role now, the children and adults that we serve are just as needy, and, you know, so it's just as important a job, I feel.
Absolutely, and a lot of our clients will have NHS input and input from ATtherapy, which is great because you still get to work really closely alongside those NHS professionals, but also maybe give extra that you weren't able to do before.
Yeah.
So what made you apply for a job at ATtherapy in the end, Katie?
Well, I actually had a couple of friends that were working within ATtherapy, and they told me about it, about the company and about what you guys do. So that's, I suppose, where I first heard about you. And to be honest, I probably wouldn't. I knew that I wanted to continue working within special education, but I probably wouldn't have applied at ATtherapy because, you know, looking at your website, I can see that you're, you know, an incredibly specialist team of speech and language therapists. And I thought, you know, I've not had those opportunities to be really working with lots of high-tech AAC users in my NHS role, just because of the, you know, the age of the children that I was working with and just the scope of the capacity that we had within the NHS. But my friends, you know, really reassured me and, you know, told me more about the company, and actually, you know, you do specialise in brain injury, but you're also working with other clients as well. And of those that do have a brain injury, actually, their needs may not be AC. It may be that they need language work, or they may need speech work, or social and emotional work. So, you know, within your team, you've actually got therapists with lots of different specialities, and as actually, you know, my friends reassured me that I would have lots of transferable skills.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I think a lot of therapists underestimate as well what AAC techniques they're already using in their everyday practice. So you think about, you know, Makaton signing and objects of reference, symbolic supports, all of those things are, you know, bread and butter for a lot of therapists, but they maybe wouldn't consider it as, you know, AAC work. So I think it's great that you've highlighted that, really, because as a team, we look getting new members who maybe have more experience in other areas that we don't have as much experience in. You know, it's great when we get new team members with lots of voice experience or working in social, emotional, mental health. You know, there's loads of areas that actually all of our clients need support with as well as AAC. So yeah, thank you for making a point of that.
Yeah, I feel like as though already I've come across everything within, you know, working with ATtherapy, you know, stammers, selective mutism, like it really is such a broad scope. And I think, what's been lovely is you've given therapists really the options to kind of follow what their interests are and, you know, what it is that they want to be working with, really, which I think is great because there wasn't, you know, that choice within the last role.
Yeah, and I think it as you said before, it's a big decision to make the move to come over to an independent team. So there has to be something that makes people want to, you know, leave their roles and come to us, and that freedom to explore is often what is commented on as a real bonus. So having that time and a big enough team that you can call someone up and say, right, I want to know more about shape coding, tell me all about shape coding. And there is someone here generally that will have that knowledge for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's been great, and it's really nice to hear that your friends who already worked in the team were sharing that positive experience with you. Did it affect you that it was them giving you their kind of personal opinions as a friend rather than as a speech therapist?
Well, no, because I really trust my friends' opinions more than anything else. So, you know, I knew that if they were telling me that was their thoughts and feelings, then yeah, I could totally trust that. So no, not at all.
Great. So now you've told us a little bit about your motivation to join the team, Katie. Could you tell us a little bit more about the application process?
Yeah, sure. So I sent my CV in to info@ATtherapy.co.uk and had a bit of a chat with one of the clinical managers about kind of what I was doing at the moment within my role and kind of what I was looking for. I was invited in for an interview, which was lovely. It was really informal. It was with two of the managers. It just felt like a chat and them getting to know me and me getting to know more about ATtherapy. And then following that, I was offered a job. So it was it was a really lovely, positive process, and it was pretty simple and straightforward.
That was really nice to hear. Did you feel like you were able to ask any of those kind of awkward questions you wanted, or, you know, have the opportunity to find out more things you maybe were a bit more unsure of?
Yeah, well, because there's areas that I wanted to develop within, you know, hopefully a job at ATtherapy. You know, I think in the interview I was kind of open about that, the areas that I wanted to develop or the areas that I might need a little bit more support with. And I felt supported even in the interview, you know, with the responses that I was getting in terms of what I'd be offered if, you know, I was successful in getting a job. So yeah, it was really positive.
Great, that's great to hear. And I know we've got lots of YouTube videos. I think those are mentioned quite a lot in our interview process to kind of say to people, you know, if you want to find out a little bit more, go onto our YouTube channel, ATtherapy, and there are loads of little videos and webinars on there with kind of, you know, top tips of things that we do as a team or different specialisms within the team as well. And we're also, you know, really willing to have therapists come over for a session, half a day, so, you know, come and see what goes on here. And get involved, and, you know, if you're unsure, come and see what it's really like.
Okay. Oh, nice. Yeah.
So after you were offered a position, Katie, and we were really lucky that you accepted because you were an amazing member of the team, what was starting with the company like?
So I'd been prepared by my friend that you offer a really good induction period, a really supportive induction period, which you did. It was a month long. So the first day I came in, I met with Chris, the business manager. She ran through kind of everything to do with ATtherapy that I needed to know, covered all of that to give me a really good grounding as to, what I needed to know about the company. And she also gave me a laptop on day one, iPad, laminator, which is important, and a printer, colour printer, which is great because all of the ink cartridges just get sent home whenever we run low, which is fab. And then for kind of the rest of the month, I had lots of different things booked in for me. I had some training sessions with Smartbox and with Toby Dynavox.
Great.
For the clients that I was going to be picking up, I did joint sessions with the therapist who had them previously. So 1 or 2 sessions. So I wasn't just going out and meeting clients. I got to kind of see what they've been working on with their previous therapists, which was great. Also had lots of opportunities to just to watch other therapists with different clients to get a little bit of a variety in there. And I also had lots of time for CPD as well. So access lots of the the training that you mentioned that's on the YouTube channel. Along with I was booked onto kind of some external training not long after. I did some training with you, didn't I, Nikki?
Yeah, you did. Some of our training in partnership with some of the companies that we're really lucky to be co-delivering with. We've got courses like Talking Mats, the Brick by Brick programme with Play Included, and ASC Building Blocks with Toby Dynavox. I know that our office here in Oldham is quite a big base as well, and there's so many boxes full of resources and pieces of equipment. Did you have much time to kind of explore?
Something that I did, I had a good route through all of the boxes. It's great, loads of resources for therapists to use. Lots of like your switch adapted toys and activities, in terms of all the AT tech stuff, all your switches, and there's just lots and lots of bits and bobs, lots of games, lots of books. So I pop into the office every now and then and just kind of like restock, change some things in and out. So it's really handy having it all here.
Definitely. And I think as a big team that work kind of nationwide, I know something we get asked a lot is how do you all still feel like a team when do you see each other? And it's great to have this space here that when you are coming in to swap resources or pick up assessments, there's always somebody about to have a chat with, get your lunch with, and feel connected and have a nice catch up.
And what I would say is within that first month we had a staff meeting. So that was great because I'd been given the dates for the staff meetings, and I think I emailed you and I was like, so what time is it? Because I've just got the day, and you were like, they are a day. Is it 4 times a year that we
have
them?
That's
and
right.
It's a full day, the whole team get together, and we get lunch and cake bought for us, which is always lovely. But it's just a lovely time to kind of meet everybody and, chat socially, and also have some of those work discussions as well about clients that we may share or ideas that we've got. So I always look forward to those.
Good. And I know one of the first things to happen when you joined the team was you got added to our WhatsApp group straight away. Introduced to the millions of dogs within the AT team, of which there's always pictures being posted. Did you find that was a nice way to get to know people a bit more as well?
Definitely. And I think just going forward, like having the WhatsApp group, it's, because we are out on the road a lot, visiting different clients sometimes, you've just got a quick question and often you can post it on there and you'll get an answer within moments from somebody. So it's really helpful.
Definitely. There's always somebody who's driving for a big amount of time. They'll post on there. I'm free if anyone wants to chat. So that's always a nice way to find out just who's free if you're driving too, have a nice chat about clients, life in general, to kind of keep in touch, which is fun. Now that you've been with us for 7 months, which has flown by,
so quickly.
It really has. Is there anything in particular that you want to share with us about your experience so far?
Yeah, sure. I suppose what I love about working at ATtherapy is the relationships that you get to develop with the clients and with the families. A lot of mine at the moment I'm seeing on a weekly basis. I've got 1 or 2 that'll be fortnightly, 1 or 2 that'll be termly. But even then, it's, I'm getting to speak with the families all the time, having that regular input with the clients, I've got so much more time in my day to allow for like planning and creating therapy sessions that are fun for the client really, which is really important to me. Like I like to be a fun therapist, I like to be play based. So there's time to do that. Like this morning, I was just saying to you before, I've come back from a client and we've been doing a festival over the summer. So we're working towards a festival at the end of the summer holidays, but each week we've done something different. So last week she uses an AAC device, so we're practicing building sentences using an AAC. Last week we were practicing dance moves, this week we've made festival food, next session we're making mocktails, then we're going to do outfits and then finish with the festival. There just wouldn't have been that time in my last job to, put together that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely that, clients first. But then the team, working within the team so far because, everybody's got their different specialisms. There's so much knowledge within the team. There's always somebody that you can ask if you're not sure of something. The drive is incredible. So the Google Drive where we keep all of the resources. So I think, therapists have added to it over time, haven't they? And there's just so much stuff on there. It's great in terms of like resources, assessments, research papers.
And it's a great place to look if you need inspiration for things. Rather than having to start from scratch, you can often pick up really nice ideas for whole kind of terms of the planning, which is really handy.
Yeah, and everybody shares everything that they've made, which is lovely, really helpful. Also, I would say, the management team as well. I feel like, we're listened to, you're always asking for feedback from the team, and, there's things that you put in place to kind of ensure our well-being. We have wellbeing days, 2 days a year. Yeah. So we've just been cocktail making, haven't we, in the summer?
Very fun.
Yeah. And then you subscribe to Spectrum Life as well for the team.
We do, yeah. So for those of you that might not know what Spectrum is, it's an employee assistance program that allows us to kind of have an ongoing provision of support for all team members and all of their family members over the age of 18 that live in the same household. And it provides short-term counselling blocks. It can provide financial support and life coaching, lots of different things. And also there's a nice handy app with lots of discounts and things. But that is a nice extra to work in ATtherapy.
Things like counselling and that kind of thing can be really expensive, can't it? So it's great for me to know that should I need that, I've got that there as an option, and for my family as well.
Yeah, definitely. If I were to ask you for a typical week, Katie, so sort of talk me through what would be an expected week in your diary.
Okay. I've got 10 clients at the moment, so as I said before, some of them I'm seeing weekly, based kind of around Manchester. I know some other therapists work in other areas across the northwest and into the northeast as well, but all of mine are kind of around the Manchester area. So most of them I'm seeing either at home or in school. Some of them there's a little drive in between each client, but I really don't mind that because I'll stick a podcast on, I'll chat to somebody on the phone, I'll listen to Audible.
There you go. And so thinking time as well.
Yeah.
You don't often get time to just think, whether it's clinical decision making or thinking about your own CPD, what you might like to learn next. It's great for that as well, I find.
Yeah, I mean, I've got 2 toddlers at home, so for me it's like me time.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of quiet time, which is nice. So offering lots of direct therapy. So I might have an MDT in a week, so a multidisciplinary team meeting where we get together with the team, around the clients and kind of make plans for the next term, the next few months. Or I may have some CPD time. So that might be something self-directed, or I might go on book onto a webinar or some training. It can be quite varied really, but I love that I've got the consistency of seeing my clients regularly. That's really important for me.
Definitely. And since we've kind of returned to the new normal following the pandemic, do you find that you're still kind of doing a mixture of face-to-face therapy and also kind of some remote therapy or meetings or other kind of activities online?
I haven't got any clients that I see remotely at the moment, but I know that some of the other therapists in the team are seeing some clients remotely. I think just due to geographical reasons, but the family have wanted ATtherapy, and it's been lovely hearing back, from some of those therapists about how those sessions have gone and being quite creative about how they still make those sessions really engaging for people who are having remote therapy. A lot of the MDT meetings are remote. Some families do prefer them face to face, but I'd say the majority for myself, we meet remotely over Zoom or Google Meets.
Yeah. Do you find that you have much time kind of working from home, or do you come to the office? What's your general preference?
Yeah, I'm generally at home. I'm out and about during the day, but I'll often go home to do my notes, or, which is also great, I do a lot of dictating, which is a real bonus. So that's another thing that I might do in the car. So after I've seen a client, I can just dictate what's happened in that session and email it off to Tracy in the admin team, and she'll type the notes up, which is a great time saver, and very grateful to be able to do that. So I may go home and do some admin, but I do like to pop into the office normally once a week.
Yeah, that's really nice that you have kind of a mix of office and home working. I know that ATtherapy are really flexible about kind of where people want to work on the whole. If you prefer to work at home, great. Where possible, then we'll absolutely accommodate that. So it's really nice to hear about your sort of mixed experience.
Yeah, and with regards to flexibility, so when I started, I was working 3 days a week, but I felt that, with the clients that I had and where they were geographically, I felt like I could do more, to be honest. So I asked about doing 4 days in 3. So so I do a Monday, Tuesday, typical length days, and then on a Wednesday I do a longer day. So I get my admin done in the evening.
Perfect.
And that's working. Yeah, it's working really well.
So thinking about working flexibly, Katie, have you found that has helped you as a mum of a young family?
Yeah, definitely. We all manage our own diaries, and we're kind of given the freedom to work flexibly. As long as we do work our hours, and that's fine. So in September, my little boy's starting preschool. He's got a settling in session in the middle of the day that I need to take him to. So I know that I will be able to schedule that time to go and see him and kind of have that kind of experience with him, settling into his new preschool, and then I know I'll be able to make up that time somewhere else in the week. I do feel like you're really flexible. I know that there are some other parents who take the summer off. In fact, I know there's some therapists that aren't parents that take the summer off.
Just going to say, we go travelling all around the world, having great times. There's lots of ways in which kind of flexible working takes place here at AT. And it is really dependent on just what everybody needs. We listen and try to be as responsive as we can in that situation. And I know, I've got a young family too, and it's so nice to be able to catch up on admin when my little one's gone to bed sometimes, if I've run over or if I've got a report I really need to write when it's quiet. My house is always better when it's later on at night, everyone's asleep. You can crack on and do a little bit of admin. So it's definitely very flexible in that way. So some of our newer team members, Katie, have commented on the changes they've found around sort of the equipment that they've got access to on a daily basis, and how sort of fast and easy it is to be able to trial new things. Have you noticed any changes in the resources that you're able to access here at ATtherapy to improve yourselves?
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned before, we got our laptop on. I got my laptop on day one, and had access to Grid software, to Snap and Core through Toby Dynavox, which is great. And go onto my clients' devices, edit them remotely. With regards to kind of the hardware that's in the office, there's devices to try. There's different eye gaze cameras. There's all of the switches. The AT tech team have got a massive amount of technology that can be loaned out, or you can ask for their support around what they would recommend for the knowledge that they have.
So that's our team of assistive techs and assistive tech assistants, and they have a great assessment kit, don't they, that can be loaned out, or they'll often join us on visits, and we'll give them a problem. They will root around in a bag of tricks until they find the solution. It's definitely a great resource to have. I know that since you joined the team, Katie, a few of your clients on your caseload have been going through the assessment process for communication aids. How have you found that?
Yeah, it's been great. It's been really straightforward because instead of having to, go to suppliers, we've got so much kit here that we've been able to trial 3 different devices already with one of the clients, and they've only had 2 assessment sessions so far, so that's great. And there's more to try within our kit, and then when the time's right and we're getting a better idea of what that client might need, we've got really good relationships with some of the suppliers, so we'll be able to get them a loan really quickly to try and see if that's the right device for them.
Yeah, that's great too. And I know within our kind of app list, we have loads of different softwares we can try on our individual iPads that we all have as team members. I found that really handy. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I was amazed when I started, really, how many different things we have access to. Kind of on the drive, there's a big list of all of the different apps that we can use and all of the different licenses that we've got. Like Board Maker, Widget Online, we've got all of the Makaton resources, access to grid thing, we've got widgets. I feel like you're going to be able to list more than I can, but there's a really big list of things that there's clicker software, isn't there? Help kids learn.
And it's great that it's not just on one device that's like stored in an office. We've all got access to it. So it's nice to be able to take out when you're going on a visit to trial, rather than having to make sure that specific piece of equipment with that software on is free that day.
It just makes it so easy.
Definitely. Is there anything else you found different from working in the NHS, Katie?
I think there's a lot that is similar in terms of I'm part of an MDT team. I see my colleagues, I speak to my colleagues often, the speech and language therapists and professionals within the team. One of the main differences is a lot of our clients are medicolegal, which means that they have a case manager that manages their funds, really. If we need something for them, like some equipment, let's say a switch adapter toy, we would just write a short justification explaining why it's important for that client. Things like mounts or equipment. We send that off to the case manager and they would agree it. So there's that's a little bit different, but yeah.
I think that there's a real positive to that as well, that if there's a change in your client's needs, it's really quick in a lot of cases to be able to change our delivery. So if we're trialling new software, we might increase our inputs twice a week sometimes, maybe more, which is really nice to be able to do that so quickly, or to get somebody else in, an assistive tech in to do an assessment, or one of our education and therapy assistants to come and support with, curriculum differentiation, things like that. It's a lot faster to put in place. Definitely.
And what I would say about the case manager is you've got that person to go to who knows the client really well, who knows the team around the client really, really well. So you've got that person to go to should there be anything that you need to discuss with regards to the client, which is really helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think because a lot of our clients will have quite large independent MDTs who will also be working very closely with that client, you find that you have a cohort of professionals all involved with that client that you can discuss, maybe challenges you've encountered, or if you're considering a decision, you've got other people that can support you with that. So psychologists, psychiatrists, dietitians, a whole range, Is that something that you'd experienced as much when you were working in the NHS, that kind of very close working with other professionals?
I'd say it's something that we really aspired to do, but sometimes time just didn't allow for it. I know that with one of my clients at the moment, we're doing joint targets. So at the MDT meetings, which happen in say 4 times a year, we're each choosing some targets, and putting them onto a joint plan, so that we can kind of see what each other are working on. And then within that meeting, it might be that there's something that comes out that has a lot of crossover, and it ends up being actually, say, a joint target between speech and OT. So that can work really nicely.
Yeah, I know a lot of our therapists will do, multiple joint visits in a week with OTs, physios, dietitians. You become very close with the other team members as well, the other MDT team members. And we often find ourselves working with the same professionals a lot of the time, which is great because you really get to learn more about all these other independent companies who are supporting the same client groups as us,
Yeah.
which is really nice.
Yeah, it's really interesting to learn so closely about what they've been doing and what they've been working on as well.
Definitely. So what would you say to any therapists out there who are thinking about making a change and possibly coming over to join us at ATtherapy or somewhere else within the independent sector?
Yeah, I would say, have a good look at the website. I would say definitely consider applying with ATtherapy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, have a good look on the website. There's loads of stuff on there. We've got an Instagram page, so therapists are often posting bits about things that they've been doing with clients on there, so you can get a kind of a feel for what's happening in sessions, some of the work that we do. And then the ATtherapy YouTube page as well is great for getting a bit of an overview of all of the different things that we cover in the areas that we work in.
Yeah, we've got such a big service now. We've got an amazing team of mentors who all use AAC, the AT mentors. They have their own section on our website and lots of videos on our YouTube channel. But I know we've mentioned, the AT tech team, the education and therapy assistants.
Yeah.
We really do have lots and lots of different professionals within the team. So there's lots to find out that I think people might not know about us. I don't know if you agree, Katie.
Yeah.
But I know we've got our amazing new team member Tiff, who's behind the camera today. She is always posting lots of exciting stuff on our socials. So there's lots to find out there and on our website and YouTube channel, like you said. Definitely.
I feel like I've spoken loads. As a manager, at ATtherapy, is there, anything that you think that perhaps we've not spoken about that would be great for people to know about working for the company, or why they should perhaps apply for a role within ATtherapy?
Yeah, I think there are so many amazing things about ATtherapy. I've been here for 4 years now. So previously I worked in a local authority SEN school, and I worked there for like 10 years or so. So I've never actually worked within an NHS setting. I was always sort of funded from alternative pots of money. But I really wanted a challenge, and I came to ATtherapy as a highly specialist therapist. And what I really wasn't aware of is the sort of other opportunities that would come up within the team. I think I was more just focused around the therapy. And all of our Band 7s within the team have an additional role, which is a really nice kind of area for them to focus on developing. So we've got kind of dysphagia, we've got clinical placements, neurodivergence, there's loads of different areas. So mine was training lead, and it's been great to be able to develop the training service, AT training, as I know some of the other therapists have found as well with their areas. And then about a year and a half ago now, the opportunity came up to apply for a clinical manager role, which again hadn't been something I'd ever really expected. I think often we take for granted that when you get to a highly specialist, you sort of just kind of stay there. Yeah, and that's definitely not the case here, which was brilliant. And as I said before, I'm a mum. It's not something that potentially I was looking at full time. And what's great is that it was offered as a part-time role, as a job share. So Fran, our other clinical manager, is kind of my other half, and that's really nice to be able to have that split role with somebody and work so closely. And I think from a kind of manager's perspective, it's been great to see all of the company developments as well. So benefits that you wouldn't see in maybe in an NHS role. There are lots of benefits to working in the NHS, pension, your maternity leave, but there are lots of benefits to working here as well. So we talked about the employee assistance programme before, which is really, really helpful to a lot of our team members at one stage or another. Also, just the opportunity to innovate has been massive. And I know we've put a lot of effort into that over the past couple of years, and we've had some really exciting projects that have come out of it, like My Ability, which is a resource to support the development of self-identity and self-esteem following a diagnosis. So there's loads of information about that. There's a webinar on our YouTube channel, lots of info on our website. But I was lucky enough to be be involved in that project, spearheaded by Fran, our clinical manager, and with Emma Bowers, one of our other highly specialist therapists. And working closely with other companies, like you've said, we've currently got a joint project with Toby Dynavox called AAC Building Blocks, which is around my sort of passion, if you like, which is like brick-based therapies and play.
Yeah.
And for me, I've loved just being supported in that and sort of being allowed to run wild with it and just take it to places that I didn't really ever think we'd get to, like, co-delivering courses with Toby.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of opportunities to really develop into the kind of therapist you want to be, that maybe you wouldn't have considered before.
Yeah. I feel like you're being very modest, but you're also doing a PhD at the moment, aren't you? So, and you're finding time to do that with your clinical manager role and with your, role still working as a therapist and everything else that you're doing.
It's you juggle it, don't you?
Yeah.
That's what you do, and what I will say is that's possible with the support of the team.
Yeah.
Everybody is such a team, and the support from the clinical directors, Hayley and Andrea, have been great with that. And it's not just me, there are other team members that are doing extra qualifications, from doing a master's in assisted tech. There's lots of people who are either doing stuff or exploring stuff. And even longer courses. We've got Ellie's attention autism trained now. Kerry's done some great sensory processing training courses. So being able to develop other passions and get other qualifications is definitely it.
I feel like we can come to you and ask about something, and you're kind of like, let's get more information. Let's go for it, which is great.
Yeah. We have 2 CPD days a year, which I know
I'm not experienced yet.
New to you, but they're a really exciting couple of days for the team, and we just get everybody to the office. We run it like a mini conference, so we have like external speakers, internal speakers, and everybody basically chooses their own conference agenda, if you like. And last year it was just such a great opportunity to learn from each other. So we had therapists presenting on hypermobility, working in the medical legal sector, SEMH, trauma-informed practice, all sorts of topics. And just being able to come away and be like, wow, I work with some incredible therapists. I want to just steal her brain and take everything from it. It's really nice to work with therapists that you respect so much, but are totally approachable.
Yeah, and then having the time to share that knowledge.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for listening today. We really appreciate you taking the time to hear more about Katie's experience and us as a team and a company. We have some great resources that are free on our YouTube channel as well as our website. And as I said, our socials are always up to date with what's going on at ATtherapy and any recommendations or top tips we might have for therapists, parents, families, everyone really. Feel free to subscribe to our mailing list. We will put the link to that below, and the same for our YouTube channel too. You'll be notified of any of our new content as soon as it's uploaded. We do have a really exciting range of webinars scheduled in for September onwards. Details will follow within the next few days, but we're really excited to have Amy Robertson, who's one of our education and therapy assistants. She's going to be presenting on how to support and develop communication in the classroom, and we're really excited to hear all about her experiences working within a mainstream classroom setting, and also with us here at ATtherapy as an education and therapy assistant. Make sure that you sign up and subscribe, as I've already said, and keep an eye for more upcoming podcasts in the future. Thanks so much again.